Elon Musk's Starbase is located in Boca Chica, Texas, a region rich in both space dreams and endangered wildlife. The site is adjacent to vital habitats, home to rare animals like the Kemp's Ridley sea turtle, ocelots, and the piping plover. Environmental groups have raised an alarm over the increased frequency of rocket launches near sensitive coastal ecosystems. These concerns stem from potential harm to nesting grounds, noise pollution, and chemical runoff from rocket fuels. Conservationists argue that the Starbase expansion may push fragile species closer to extinction. One of the main points of contention is SpaceX's attempt to scale up operations without full environmental approvals. The Federal Aviation Administration initially granted a mitigated environmental assessment, sparking lawsuits from advocacy groups. These lawsuits allege the FAA failed to conduct a proper environmental impact statement required under federal law. Rocket explosions and launch failures at the site have scattered debris across protected lands and beaches. The surrounding area includes the Lower Rio Grande Valley National Wildlife Refuge, a critical migratory bird corridor. Conservationists fear that rare birds like the aplomado falcon could be permanently displaced. SpaceX has agreed to some environmental mitigation steps, but critics argue they're not enough to counter long-term damage. The National Wildlife Federation and other groups have submitted detailed objections urging stricter oversight. Wildlife cameras have captured reduced animal activity in the region since launch activities began. The acoustic impact of rocket launches can affect animal mating behaviors, particularly for sensitive amphibians and birds. Locals have reported seeing fewer sea turtle nests along the beach, possibly due to habitat disruption. Conservationists are also monitoring light pollution, which can disorient nocturnal animals and hatchling sea turtles. Texas state agencies remain divided, with some supporting economic growth and others prioritizing habitat protection. Elon Musk has argued that Starbase creates jobs and positions the U.S. as a leader in space innovation. Critics counter that economic benefits shouldn't override environmental law, especially when endangered species are at stake. The Starbase project is also drawing international attention due to its location in a globally significant ecosystem. Biologists emphasize that once a species disappears from this region, it could be lost forever. Scientists studying the local ecosystem have documented shifts in animal movement patterns since rocket testing increased. The clash has sparked broader debates about how technological progress should balance with environmental stewardship. Public hearings have seen passionate arguments from both space enthusiasts and environmental advocates. Some suggest building future launch pads in less sensitive areas to avoid these conflicts altogether. Others worry that setting such a precedent could stall critical infrastructure projects nationwide. SpaceX's plans include a massive launch tower and integration facilities, which could further encroach on wildlife habitats. Drone footage has shown how close some infrastructure is to sea turtle nesting areas. Legal experts note that this conflict could set new precedents for how spaceports are regulated in the U.S. Indigenous communities have also voiced concerns, saying the land holds cultural and historical significance. Their voices add a vital perspective to an already complex conversation about ethics, science, and conservation. Many locals worry about the long-term impact on tourism, which relies heavily on the area's natural beauty. Bird watching alone brings millions in revenue each year, and changes to habitats could threaten that economy. Environmental impact statements, EIS, are typically more thorough than the assessment SpaceX originally underwent. Critics argue that bypassing a full EIS undermines transparency and public trust in federal agencies. The Center for Biological Diversity continues to push for a court-mandated EIS for Starbase. In response to mounting pressure, the FAA has announced plans to revisit its environmental policies for commercial spaceports. However, SpaceX's aggressive development pace has outstripped regulatory updates, leaving agencies scrambling to catch up. Rocket launches have reportedly startled herds of animals, including deer and javelinas, forcing them to flee their territories. Some local scientists have had to pause long-term studies due to unexpected disruptions from test launches. SpaceX says it's working with biologists, but specifics of these collaborations remain undisclosed. Elon Musk tweeted that Starbase will eventually be a hub for Mars colonization, emphasizing its long-term significance. Yet critics argue that Mars exploration shouldn't come at the cost of destroying life on Earth. The irony isn't lost on many, building a future for humanity while damaging irreplaceable ecosystems in the present. Conservation groups are now pushing for federal-level reforms to better regulate private aerospace projects. Some scientists propose buffer zones to limit noise and visual pollution near sensitive habitats. Marine biologists have raised concerns about how chemicals from rocket launches may affect nearby aquatic ecosystems. Runoff can contaminate both freshwater marshes and saltwater lagoons that host hundreds of animal species. Even small changes in water quality can disrupt the reproductive cycles of amphibians and fish. The Texas Parks and Wildlife Department has begun tracking long-term biodiversity changes around the Starbase facility. Preliminary data suggests that certain insect populations are also in decline, likely due to habitat fragmentation. SpaceX's ambitious schedule means launches may increase, exacerbating existing environmental pressures. Musk has acknowledged the environmental critiques, but insists the benefits of Starbase outweigh the ecological costs. Critics believe this narrative prioritizes technological exceptionalism over grounded, science-based environmental policy. There's growing pressure on President Biden's administration to address gaps in oversight for private space ventures. The White House has so far remained neutral, stating that the issue is under review. Environmentalists argue that neutrality isn't enough when extinction-level threats face already endangered species. Legal scholars expect the conflict to head to the Supreme Court if regulatory reforms are delayed. In the meantime, grassroots campaigns have surged, with locals distributing flyers and organizing protest marches. Artists have painted murals of displaced wildlife along roads leading to Starbase, sparking public dialogue. Documentaries are also in production, aiming to raise awareness about the environmental cost of space exploration. Animal rights activists have collaborated with climate scientists to form new advocacy coalitions. The controversy is also influencing university research funding, with more grants now focused on aerospace ecology. Texas A&M and other institutions are hosting forums to discuss ethical frameworks for future spaceport development. These conversations emphasize that progress must consider not just innovation, but also long-term ecological balance. Political candidates in the region are beginning to take sides, turning the issue into a campaign talking point. Voter sentiment appears split, with younger audiences leaning towards space progress and older generations favoring conservation. Environmental DNA testing is being used to monitor hidden biodiversity impacts near launch zones. This technology helps scientists detect changes even when animal sightings decrease. State-level policies may soon evolve to include more stringent wildlife protections around industrial zones. Such changes would be a major victory for conservationists who fought for greater accountability in environmental governance. The broader question remains, can humanity reach the stars without destroying the planet it calls home? This isn't just about one company or one spaceport. It's a test case for our collective priorities. If regulators, scientists, and tech leaders can collaborate effectively, sustainable solutions may yet emerge. But if short-term ambition overrides caution, the damage could be irreversible. Starbase may be a gateway to Mars, but it also sits on the front line of Earth's environmental future. As rocket engines roar, the calls of endangered species grow quieter, unless we choose to listen and act. The outcome of this conflict will shape how we build, innovate, and coexist with nature for generations to come.